Welcome everyone. This is Yvonne Davis and David Steele. We're accredited facilitators with the Rocky Mountain Compassionate Communication. And you are joining us for Unleash Your Creativity, a blending of the artist's way and nonviolent communication by Marshall Rosenberg. So today we're going
to talk about perfectionism.
Yes.
So it's the Rocky Mountain Compassionate Communication Network, not just the Rocky Mountain Compassionate Communication. And it's The Artist Way by Julie Cameron and Nonviolent Communication, The Language of Life by Marshall Rosenberg.
Okay.
So, you're a professional, okay? People are paying for this course. You have to give them quality. Maybe we should just stop this video and start over.
Yeah.
But we don't have time. I've got to go. So we've got to live with it. But I just want you to feel like inadequate and have some shame because you screwed up.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I think that I'm going to just eat myself up over this, and I'm not going to be able to sleep tonight. And I really don't think I even want to do this program anymore because,
Well, why don't you just play it over and over in your head to remind yourself how you could have done better.
Yeah. Okay. Next time I'll be perfect. And oh my God, look at my hair. Oh no. Okay. Wait. So anyway, next time I'll be perfect. And if we don't get it right, I just don't want to do this anymore, David. I just can't stand not being perfect. I think, I just don't think we should even do it if we can't be perfect.
If I really believed you meant that, I would feel very sad. But I don't believe you mean that.
Yeah. Alrighty, so here's the real deal. I did used to be a perfectionist at one point in my life. It was awful. Oh, it was just awful. I just tore myself to shreds all the time for not being perfect. And
were there a lot of if-onlys in your head? Or more like, you idiots?
Yeah, it was more like, you idiot, you're so stupid. How could you talk like that? And, didn't you hear your voice, your high-pitched whiny voice? Ugh, how awful.
I have one of your hairs. From when I was looking at your hair, and wow, I'll treasure it for the next few minutes. Anyway.
So yeah, it was pretty hard to live that way. And that was a long, long time ago when...
So why do we live that way? Why do we try to be perfect? Why do we tell ourselves we should be perfect?
Well, now I understand a couple things. One is that there's something there about the shadow, but also that the part of me that was trying so hard to be perfect and was just like beating me up about not being perfect was actually trying to protect me, trying to help me, So in some sense, that part of me really loves me and loved me and was just trying to help me, because it thought if I could be perfect, then and never make a mistake, then I would never have to experience pain or shame or embarrassment or failure or rejection or anything like that. People would love me. So it was really just trying to protect me and help me.
So the one that, of all the things you said, the one that really resonates with me is to be accepted.
Yeah.
to do it right so that we fit in, don't stand out, are not rejected.
Yeah, because it's so painful when it, you know, if you do experience something where maybe you're, you know, you kind of were vulnerable or something, and you're waiting for that person to respond in some way that lets you know, hey, you're okay, I like you, and maybe that doesn't happen.
You know, I'd like you too if your hair was not so messy.
So, so anyway, I think, yeah, the jackal is just trying to protect us from ever having to experience that kind of pain.
So let me tie this back to abundance a little bit. Or core limiting beliefs even, when first of all, when we have an experience where things didn't go the way we expected. So to begin with, we have to have an attachment to a specific outcome and a belief that things have to go a certain way for things to be okay. And if they don't go that way, there's something wrong, which has a lot to do with perfection. And then when it doesn't go the way we want, then we automatically jump to this as failure. I didn't do it right. And then that's where the belittling, the angry voice comes in. If instead we could look at things didn't go the way we expected, if we could look at that as feedback. This is simply information. I think it was already in the last video or the one before that where you quoted Henry Ford saying failure is simply the opportunity to begin again more intelligently. And he talked about the little child when they try to walk, they fall on their bottom many, many times before they can maneuver it. You know, right now we're in robotics, and the first robots that inventors have tried to build have been disasters, and now they're getting pretty good. So we don't know, we just don't know. And for some reason, we have to pretend that we do know. At least I know that for a lot of my life I did. I would have to pretend that I knew everything and could admit no flaw. And, you know, so being comfortable with the fact that you don't know is a big part of giving up perfectionism. And then thinking in terms of feedback instead of failure, so that you can adjust the actions you take so that they more closely coincide with the needs that you want to meet. Because we don't know, and the other night we were watching Marshall Rosenberg on the video, and he said, you don't really know if you want something until you get it. And then if it makes your life, if it enriches your life, you know, oh yeah, that's what I wanted. Sometimes it doesn't enrich your life, but until you get it, you don't know. And so that's the feedback part. Oh, okay, that didn't work so well. I thought it would be great if I, you know, started to study coaching. And then I started to study coaching, and it really kind of felt flat. And I tied into stuff that used promotional techniques, not to get down on coaching, but kind of that, you know, I've got a secret I'll tell you, and this is the power for my success in 15 minutes of, and this secret is so amazing, and to find out what it is, 99.95, you know, and that stuff just didn't work. And I realized this isn't the direction I want to go. This vein that I've tapped into, and these series of videos that I'm looking at, and this program that I was thinking of being a part of, it just wasn't for me. But I didn't know that before I started. You know, because I was finding out, I was figuring out.
Yeah. So, so basically, are you saying that there's no such thing as failure?
I would say that failure is an attitude and a perception. Mm. It's not an objective reality like the law of gravity.
Yeah.
Or that, this chair supports my body. I guess that's gravity again. Electrons make the screen run. My heart beats and blood pumps through my body, and my red blood cells carry nutrient to and from the cells. Failure is it's a judgment.
Yeah.
And just like perfectionism is laden with judgment.
Right.
And so there's burden.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that's one of the biggest things that I've been learning is that, so especially if you're doing something that's really challenging you, and so it's, can take a lot of energy. I'd like to think of it as like 2 layers. Like there's the layer of energy that it takes just to do something that's challenging. Mm-hmm. And then, as you're doing it, so let's say this is the layer where you're doing it, and then there's all this judgment, that you burden yourself with. Oh, I'm not doing it right. Oh, I messed up. I'm not meeting my goals. I can't do this right. I think, and I'm making a fool of myself. Oh my gosh. And so there's all this extra weight that we're burdened with on top of trying to do something new and different. So that can be really challenging. So that's what I'm noticing is like when I've got all this judgment on top, it's exhausting me. Mm-hmm. And so, but because what we're trying to do here in this program is basically increase our consciousness, expand our consciousness. So it's not like like we always say there's, it's about the journey, not the destination. So to me, it's the same thing, mm-hmm. That there isn't so much a destination as it is just experiencing the journey. And that's the expanding of consciousness. So, so anyway, it's not like I'm trying to necessarily, there isn't a goal to fix myself. There's simply a goal to be more observant, to notice every time that extra layer shows up, the extra layer of judgment, to notice it. Because when I notice it, that's when it begins to dissipate like that.
So let me show you something. I love the way you're talking about that. And when we have judgments, when we take on that burden, it does require a huge amount of energy, to maintain. But I'm going to show you something.
Okay.
Hi. So, as you know, if you've been watching these videos, I love playing with geometric shapes. And the very first one I tried to build was this one. And it's crooked, it's lopsided, things don't line up very well. These joints here, are not really very round or smooth. But when I made it, I was just in a hurry and I just was excited and I wanted to get it done. And then after I had finished it, I looked at it and I thought, oh, this is a piece of crap. And I put it in the garage for years. So now I've gotten more refined, so I'm making this shape here. And at certain times, it's if I have to put it like this, it's easy. But sometimes I need to work on this side, so I have to have the point down. Well, it turns out that this guy here has become the greatest little workbench, and I use it all the time because I can just set stuff in here. I can tilt the angle, and this has turned into an incredibly useful tool. So now I no longer perceive it as a failure. I perceive it as me back when I was young and didn't realize what I was doing was creating something to prepare myself to make the task that I'm doing now easier And you could call that synchronicity, or my past self somehow preparing for something my future self would need. There's lots of ways to look at it. But what I wanted to look at here is it's a total change in attitude. This is no longer failure. And since it's not elegant, I don't mind if I get a little bit of paint on it or glue or whatever, you know. So it just makes the most wonderful workbench. So that is an example of this really is perfect in a way.
Right.
But it's my perception
Exactly.
that has shifted.
Right.
So I'm going to put this away.
Okay. So we'll see if David has any other thoughts to share, but I'm kind of thinking that this will probably be bringing us to the end of our video on perfectionism. And
Perfect.
I'm going to give a little bit of a preview of coming attractions. So what we're going to do is in this week on the topic of connection, we talked about listening and jealousy and perfectionism. And in the next video, we're going to talk about the antidote to that, which is taking a risk, being willing to take risks.
Can I just say something that popped into my mind? Because this is about perfection. So perfection is about connection. Being obsessed with perfection interferes with connection.
Right, yeah. I think actually deep down inside, perfectionism is a desire for connection, but
it fails miserably.
Exactly.
It's horrible.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like, how could anyone be into perfectionism? It's such a disaster.
Yeah.
Anyhow, weren't we ending the video or something?
Yes. So, so risk, being willing to take risks is the antidote to that. But it, obviously can be scary. That's why it's called a risk. So we're going to talk about some ways to help us to feel more courageous when we are taking risks. Okay, so that's
ways that don't require any kind of drug or chemical assistance.
Right. Alrighty, so we'll bring this to a close tonight. And as usual, if you have not subscribed, please subscribe and like this video and ring the bell for notifications. Share on your social media and with your friends and family, and put your comments in the comment box below, because we are really striving to build a community here, and we love the interactions. So we'd love to see all of that coming from you. So thanks again for joining us, and we will see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.